Ten Tories vie to be the next UK leader. Bloomberg UA record 10 British Conservatives will fight each other for the chance to lead their party and the country after the race to become the next Prime Minister formally opened. Candidates including the favourite, Boris Johnson, and his highest-profile rivals, Environment Secretary Michael Gove and Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt, made it safely onto the ballot paper when nominations were announced. All the candidates agree that Britain has to leave the European Union. But when it comes to the list of 10 is the largest field of contenders. Indiana, a Tory contest since the party first began electing leaders in 1965. Over the next 2 weeks, on the first formal day of the contest, 5 of the candidates formally launched their campaigns. Johnson, meanwhile, used his weekly column in the Telegraph newspaper to propose a tax cut for higher earners, a move that reflects the preferences of Conservative Party members of Parliament and activists. He then followed his. Most of the attacks were coded. Pensions Secretary. At his campaign launch, Health Secretary Matt Hancock rejected the idea that the party needed a famous face, saying instead that after all the bitterness and rancor of the past few years, we've got to move forward. And Dominic Raab, who has seen pro-Brexit MPs whose support he might have hoped for going to Johnson, instead commented, "We won't get Brexit delivered with bluff and bluster." Art of empty rhetoric. Gove was a little more explicit. "One thing I will International Development Secretary Rory Stewart joked that Gove was moving into his territory. "I am the anti-Boris candidate," he told reporters. "I am worried, Michael." Of those holding events Monday, Hunt had the best day, wheeling out 2 high-profile backers, Rudd and Defence Secretary Penny Mordaunt. But he struggled to. "We need the art of tough negotiation, not the art of empty rhetoric," he said. And faced with bad, Gove probably had the worst, struggling to move the discussion on from the weekend's revelations of his past cocaine use. He was asked on Brexit. Hunt and Gove indicated they'd be opening to extending Britain's membership of the EU beyond the current October 31 deadline for leaving. Both said that Tuesday will see Andrea Leadsom, the last cabinet minister to quit before the Premier announced she was stepping down herself. Harper and Stewart launched their campaigns, and another private hustings for Tory MPs. To contact the reporters on this story: Robert Hutton in London at Rutten1@bloomberg.net. Tim Ross in London. To contact the editors responsible for this story: Tim Ross at tross54@bloomberg.net, Robert Jameson. For more articles like this, please visit us at Copyright 2019 Bloomberg LP.
Raindrop, drip, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that.